Hello everyone, I'm uploading some election related facts on popular demand. So this video will only concern with what's important for prelims, and we won't go into the nuances of each and every issue. This picture has been taken from the PIB their Instagram page. They have been releasing such catchy images with quotes to inspire voters to go and vote. We're going to start with the Model Code of Conduct. Model Code of Conduct is a guideline issued by the Election Commission. It has been drafted after consultation with all the political parties. So MCC is drafted under Article 324 of Constitution, which says it is EC's responsibility to conduct free and fair election. So MCC helps in achieving that objective. Now, second, MCC concerns with the conduct of political party with respect to the speeches, manifestos, processions held. It also talks about things like what the party in power should do, like it shouldn't hog all the government resources such as guest house and etc. The part about manifesto has been added by Supreme Court in 2013 by a Supreme Court direction that election manifestos guidelines should also be there in the MCC. And now MCC comes into force on the day of announcement of the election schedule, and it was first issued in Kerala in 1960s, and since then there has been many subsequent changes to MCC depending upon the requirements. And finally, MCC has no legal backing. Okay, that means it is not enforceable by law. However, there are certain provisions that correspond to provisions of Indian Penal Code, Representation of People's Act, and these can be enforced. Okay, such as hate speeches if incite violence, and that's also part of IPC. So in that way, MCC can be enforced. We'll look at the electronic voting machines or EVMs. Now first we'll look at some of its history, and then we'll look at the design of EVM. So it was first used in Kerala Paravur Assembly polls in 1982. However, since the RPA Act did not talk about electronic voting then, it was challenged in court and the election in Paravur Assembly was declared null and void. After its commissioning and addition in RPA Act, EVM was used on experimental basis in 1998 in states of Madhya Pradesh, Delhi. Its exclusive use started in 2003 in all the state elections and in 2004 in the general elections. Now EVM consists of two units. One is control and other is balloting unit. Control unit is the unit which contains the chip, that is the processor, the memory card, the storage system, battery, etc. And the balloting unit is the unit which is attached to the EVM. It contains the name of candidates and the button where you press, where you give vote to the relevant candidate. Okay, each balloting unit has name of 16 candidates on it. This industrial design of EVM was developed by faculty of IIT Bombay, and it is manufactured by BAIL and ECIL. BAIL stands for Bharat Electronics Limited and ECIL stands for Electronics Corporation of India Limited. Now the headquarter of Bharat Electronics Limited is in Karnataka, and the headquarter of Electronics Corporation of India is in Hyderabad. EVM are battery powered, hence they can be used in remotest of the location. Further, an EVM currently can record 2000 votes. Okay, it used to record 3840 votes, but now it only records 2000 votes. Remember this because it might be confusing, as earlier it was more, now it's less, and this has been done because Each EVM at a polling booth is only used to record 800 to 1000 votes. Okay. Further, now one can connect 24 balloting units to EVM compared to 4 earlier. So earlier the number of candidates was capped at 64, and if the candidates exceeded that, normal paper ballot was used. However, now that 24 balloting units can be connected, there's option of 384 candidates including nota. That's quite a lot. I don't think any constituency has more than 384 candidates yet. Finally, after a vote is casted, the EVM is locked. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you keep pressing button, even if you keep pressing it super fast, it won't matter. You press it once, the EVM is locked. Thus, there is no possibility of multiple vote per voter. Coming to voter verified paper audit trail, that is VVPAT. Now, Delhi High Court as well as Supreme Court gave order to EC to start using VVPATs in election. Now, VVPATs, what they do is every time someone casts a vote, a slip is printed. Okay, you can see it, the slip. So it helps you confirm that the person you have voted to is the one who has received the vote. Okay, because recently there have been so many doubts about EVMs as well, right? Opposition has been talking that EVM has been tampered with. Even if you vote any party, it only goes to the ruling party. So to allay such fears, the court ordered that VVPATs must be mandatorily used in elections. Okay. Now, they were used in experimental basis in 8 constituencies in 2004 general election. However, since this current election, that is 2019, VVPAT will be used in all the constituencies. Once voting is done, a slip is printed, as I told. Now, the slip will be there for 7 seconds. So that's ample time to see the name and the party symbol of the voted candidate. Okay. So the slip has the name and party symbol of the candidate, and you have 7 seconds to look at it, after which it falls inside the box. The Supreme Court also directed EC to count VVPAT slips of 5 random EVMs per constituency. This is to eliminate and also ensure that the counting done by EVM is accurate, and it also helps allay any fear of malpractices by the opposition. Also, VVPAT was first used in Noksen constituency in 2013 in Nagaland. Next, we'll talk about voting in India. Okay, so voting is a constitutional right under Article 326 of Indian Constitution. Article 326 talks about universal adult franchise. Universal adult franchise is that, or suffrage is, anyone who is over the age of 18 is a eligible voter, irrespective of their sex, religion, caste, creed, whatever. Earlier it was 21, but in 1989 it was reduced to 18. And in 2017, I think UPSC asked this question: if voting is a fundamental right, natural right, constitutional right, or legal right. How many people were confused between legal right and constitutional right? But the UPSC key clearly stated that it's constitutional right, and even NCERT books talk about that voting is a constitutional right. It's a legal right under RPA Act. It's a constitutional right under Article 326. Okay, further, a person is only eligible to vote if their name is on the electoral roll. Okay, so possession of a voter ID card is not a criteria to be eligible for voting. Even if you have a voter ID card, that doesn't mean you can just go to your polling booth and vote. Your name must be on the electoral roll. Why is this so? Because names from electoral roll can be deleted by a third party as well. Okay, so if a third party fills Form 7 in your name declaring that you are of unsound mind, unfit to vote, you have done some corruption that renders you unfit to vote, then EC, after examining the facts submitted under Form 7, can remove your name from the electoral roll. So it's not necessary that only you can delete your name. A third party can also delete your name. This facilitates if someone dies, they cannot remove their name from the electoral roll. So their near and dear ones can do so. According to the Representation of People Act 1950, the age, like on what date will it be decided that are you 18 or are you under 18? So 1st January of the year the electoral roll has been published is the date which is checked against your birth date. So if you are 18 on 1st of January 2019, you are eligible to vote in this election. If you're not 18, you're 17, or say you will be 18 on say 2nd January 2019, you are not eligible to vote. But as long as you are 18 by 1st January, you are eligible to vote. So this is another picture released by PIB for awareness regarding voting. Voting is of three kinds. The first one is in person, that is, you're physically present at the polling booth. The second one is proxy, which means that you delegate your voting rights to a representative. And the third one is by post, that is, you can send your ballot by post. Now, proxy voting is only allowed for classified service voters since 2003. Classified service voters are members of armed forces, so army, paramilitary force, police on duty outside the station, etc. Second, it includes persons who are employed under Government of India but are living outside India. They can assign a proxy voter. However, there is one condition, that the proxy voter must be a voter of the same constituency. That is, if you are appointing a proxy voter, the proxy voter shall be of the same constituency as you. Now, the second, service and special voter. Service here includes the same classified service voter along with their wives, voters who are under preventive detention in jails, and voters on election duty. They can download the ballot paper electronically, or it can be sent to them via post, and they have 14 days to send it back to the returning officer, who can then register their votes. Okay, do remember that it's only wives, so sons and daughters are not included. The government recently tried to pass a bill in Lok Sabha to allow proxy voting by NRIs. However, due to huge opposition in Rajya Sabha, the bill was rejected, as there were some concerns that the proxy voter might not vote to the person they want, and there's no guarantee of it. So at present, thus NRI can only vote via the first method, that is in person. They will have to physically be present at the polling booth. Coming to electoral bonds, these were announced in the 2017 budget. The aim was to cleanse the political funding in India, and it would also facilitate move towards a cashless economy. Now, electoral bonds are bearer instrument, payable on demand to the bearer free of interest. That means that they are a kind of promissory note, meaning the person who holds these bonds, only they can encash them. Okay, only they can use them. There will be no name written on it, which we'll see later. So if I'm holding it, I have the authority to use it. Okay, these bonds can be purchased by any citizen or a body, corporate body that is situated in India. Now, electoral bonds will only be redeemable by a political party which is registered under RPA Act and have secured more than 1% vote in the last general or state elections. That means that an independent candidate cannot receive electoral bonds. A new political party which is contesting the election for the first time cannot receive electoral bond. A political party which is not registered under RPA Act will not receive political electoral bonds. Further, they are only valid for 15 days from the date of issue. After the said period, they expire. That is, a party cannot go to bank to redeem the electoral bond after 15 days. These bonds are issued in the denomination of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, and so on. The only issuing authority is the State Bank of India. Also, these bonds, they do not have the name of the donor or the receiving political party. That means the bond won't say who is donating this money or who is going to receive this money. It is the party which possesses this bond can redeem it. Okay, and that's why they are a bearer instrument. However, all KYC norms which are applicable to general bonds are applicable on them. That means the bank will know the details of the person who is buying these bonds. We will not go into the positives or negatives of electoral bond because that's a topic for mains. Coming to some miscellaneous facts related to elections in India. So recently the amount that can be donated anonymously in cash has been reduced from 20,000 to 2,000. This has been done again to reduce the corruption in political funding in India. Also, in 2014, the limit of election expenditure incurred by a candidate for Lok Sabha in big states has been increased from 40 lakhs to 70 lakhs and in small states from 22 lakhs to 54 lakhs. This has been done due to increase in number of polling booth electors as well as to account for inflation. Now further, it is required for every candidate to deposit a security amount of rupees 25,000 in case of parliamentary constituency and 10,000 to fight election in state assembly. Okay, an SC/ST candidate has to deposit only half the sum. This is to dissuade non-serious voters from contesting elections. Okay. However, if a candidate gets less than 1/6 of the total votes polled, this money that they has deposited will be confiscated. There's an exception if the candidate wins despite getting 1/6 vote, less than 1/6 vote, then the security amount will be returned to them. And in India, it has happened on multiple occasions that a candidate who has secured less than 1/6 vote, they have won the election. Further, Election Commission has been utilizing technology to enhance voter awareness, voter participation, facilitate voting, especially for persons with disability. Now, an initiative by the name of Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation, or SWEEP, has been launched to simulate every aspect of election process. If you look at EC's Twitter handle, you can see there are small videos uploaded on them. That's SWEEP. Some other technological initiative is C-Whistle, which also known as Citizens Whistle, which empowers citizens to report any violation of the MCC, that is Model Code of Conduct. Similarly, there is a voter helpline app. Its name makes its purpose clear. There's an observer app which allows police and the expenditure observer to observe the law and order situation, expenditure incurred by candidates during campaigning, etc. Then there's a PWD app which facilitates voting for the person with disability. If they want to vote, they can contact the RPO who will help them with voting. This move is in line with our Inclusive India campaign, also known as Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan. Further, the indelible ink used in polling is of silver nitrate. Silver nitrate is soluble in water. However, when it comes in contact with your skin, the salt in the sweat, it reacts with it to form silver chloride, which is insoluble. And when this silver chloride is exposed to the sunlight, which consists of UV rays, it breaks down to form silver. Now the black mark you see on your skin is this silver. And lastly, I couldn't mention it under the EVM page. The RPA Act was amended in 1988 to allow for the use of EVM. Earlier, RPA Act did not talk about electronic voting, and as we discussed, it was for this reason that the 1982 polling in Kerala in Paravur Assembly, Paravur constituency was declared void because RP Act did not allow for electronic voting. This is it for election related facts. Thank you everyone. Have a good day and good luck for your prelims.